Welcome to day one and not one day. And welcome to our 215th weekly webcast. And welcome to a very special edition of our weekly office hours hosted every Thursday here on YouTube. Now today I want to dedicate this webcast to go over some of the most common questions I've been receiving about our 6th annual live gold and platinum MBA degree program that starts on January 30th. If you'd like to add any questions to the list, please make sure to enter them into the chat, and I'll make sure to answer them all for you on this call. I'll also open up Zoom later on during this call if you want to ask questions live. First, let's start with introductions. Let me know where you're joining us from, please, and if you've taken any of my business and finance courses, or if you're a new subscriber. Now, most of you know me now, as I've been doing these weekly calls for close to 5 years. I've worked at Goldman Sachs. I've worked at the top hedge funds in the world, including Citadel. And I've also worked in the venture capital industry. And I've taught MBA courses at several prestigious universities. What you may not know is the reason I moved into online education in the very first place. So I've actually always known I was passionate about teaching and helping people. But after teaching MBA classes in the Bay Area at places like Stanford, I realized that there are so many students out there who can't sign up for a 2-year MBA program. You know, whether it be because of money, the admissions process, or because they can't feasibly move to the United States for 2 years. Now, I still believe that everyone has the right to this fundamental knowledge. It shouldn't cost $100,000 to obtain this knowledge, and the skill set required to start your business, advance your career, or to break into the finance industry or any industry. And that's why I've developed courses in business, finance, personal, and professional development and made them affordable to my students. Now, I intentionally keep my tuition costs low, despite humbly providing a high-quality education that is more comprehensive than what you would receive from more expensive business schools. Question: what will you learn in my MBA program? Well, this program is designed to give you a strong foundation of knowledge to start your own business or accelerate your professional career. I see lots of questions coming. Please keep typing them, and thank you. In this MBA degree program, we cover 6 curriculum subjects. Number 1 is finance and accounting, which includes everything you need to truly understand your numbers. You know, from reading balance sheets and income statements to savvy investment strategies, we cover it all. And I had a platinum MBA student of mine that got a full-time job last year at Goldman Sachs in New York City, working in investment banking as an associate, meaning he was in the same start class that Harvard Business School students were in at Goldman Sachs. Number 2, entrepreneurship. Starting a successful business can take a really long time. And it's very common for new entrepreneurs to make many mistakes as they go, causing you to waste a great deal of time and money until you find success or you give up too soon. Now, this section of the MBA degree program includes my venture capital bootcamp, and it will help you write a business plan, find your customers, research your competition, and raise money for your business without any wasted time, money, or added stress. Failing to plan is planning to fail. That's why we spend a lot of time helping you with your business plan. Now, I had a student in my MBA program last year who raised $11.5 million for his startup from the same venture capital firm that invested in Tesla, Twitter, and Biden. The third of 6 parts in the MBA curriculum is called Sales, Marketing, and Communications. Now, every great CEO is also an excellent salesperson. And I'll teach you what you need to do to prospect quality leads, execute professional sales meetings, and deliver your absolute best presentations, because one speech can change your life. Number 4, economics management and strategy. Now, it's always important to look at the bigger picture. And by studying management frameworks, business case studies, and research systems, you'll understand the economic factors at play that can really help or hurt your business. And I have so many props, It's fun to teach with props, but I provide you with all the tools and frameworks that you need to succeed in my MBA program. And last year, a student of mine in the MBA program got a job at McKinsey, another one got a job at the Boston Consulting Group, and many got jobs at other consulting companies. Number 5 is personal growth. And this is my absolute favorite module of this MBA degree program. And the key to success is to set ambitious goals and great habits. And together, we will determine what you truly desire, and you'll walk away with a crystal clear image of the person and future you want to build. And understanding what you really want will determine the path you will need to get there. And this brings us to our 6th and final pillar or part of the MBA curriculum. This year, I've added a brand new module that will teach you how to use all of the features of Microsoft Excel for finance and even understand programming. And I see there's a question there from Ginny, who graduated from my Platinum program like 2 years ago, asking about data science. And I'll get to that question in a second. I'll explain how this Excel part of the MBA curriculum can help you out materially. Now, I also teach you not only Microsoft Excel, every feature of Excel, but also programming. And I was a programmer when I worked at Accenture back in the 1990s. And I still code a lot now. And one of my passions is building detailed Excel dashboards. And Ginny got a great job in Australia at a top investment bank. She was based in Vietnam. She applied to the job in Australia and got the job because she created an incredible Excel dashboard. Ginny, it's always great to see you. Love you. And if you've taken any of my courses, you know that I love making Excel dashboards. And no prior coding experience or Excel experience is required. And you'll be an Excel whiz by the end of this new edition that is only available in my MBA degree program. Yes, I will teach you how to code in the MBA degree program. Question: how is the MBA degree program structured? So when you sign up for the MBA program, you'll get instant access to the entire course curriculum. And you'll see that we meet twice per week, every Monday and Tuesday, from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. Pacific time, from this January 30th until the program ends this December. And for more details, please go to this link you see right here, harounmba.com/all-lowercase-FAQ for frequently asked questions. Now, if you can't make the live class during the program, don't worry. You can always catch up on the replay when you have time. And after each lecture in the MBA, I stop and I take questions from students. It's like attending a live lecture right from your home. And this is not another online course. You have the opportunity to ask questions whenever you need, and I'll walk through walls to help you or your money back. Now, some people ask me, is this the same course that you created called an entire MBA 1 course? No. So an entire MBA 1 course is 7.5 hours. This MBA degree program is hundreds of hours. And I'm always adding new stuff every single year, tons of new stuff. And with this MBA degree program, there's a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee. And the cost of my MBA program is literally the same cost as 1 to 2 hours attending a traditional old-school brick-and-mortar MBA school. Question: do I need to take all of the roughly 100 classes in the MBA and the countless hours of electives in the curriculum? Absolutely not. In order to graduate, you need to complete 50% of the 100 short quizzes in the program. And this course is set up so that after each lesson, there's a very short quiz that will help you test your knowledge and commit it to memory. And if there are sections that you feel don't apply to you or you're already knowledgeable in, then please feel free to skip them. So I am your humble waiter. And this is where I proposed to my wife, Christine, in Paris back in 2000. She said yes. So I'm your humble waiter. And when you go to a restaurant, you only order what you want to consume. And so what I do is I expose you to the entire business and finance career menu, and you pick what you're most passionate about, okay, in this edutaining program. And there's a lot of bad dad humor as well. But that's okay. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Question: can this program really help me get a job in finance or change careers? Heck yes. I have countless examples of students that have done so. We also have students that have graduated from my MBA program that have MBA degrees already from Ivy League and other top universities. And they say, They say they learn more value-added business skills in just 1 month in my affordable program than they learned in their 2-year, $100,000 MBA program. And many students in the program have also gotten raises and promotions and more customers by applying the concepts taught in just the first month of the program. Question: what is the difference between the gold and platinum versions of the program? So both groups of students in gold and platinum will join the same class on January 30th, and they'll attend the live weekly lectures together where you can ask questions over YouTube chat or using Zoom. And platinum students will have an additional 3 hours of one-on-one confidential coaching / consulting with me over Zoom. So I can help you perfect your LinkedIn profile, get that interview, raise or promotion, or help you with your business plan plus personal growth goals and so much more. And students have humbly found this to be an invaluable resource in keeping them accountable and moving forward with the program as well. Question: are there opportunities to network with current students and graduates of the MBA program? Yes. We use Slack and Zoom extensively to network with current students and graduates of the MBA program. We even have in-person events, including my annual graduation and alumni event this August 12th and 13th here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And you don't need to graduate to attend the event, which is available to all gold and platinum students from all 6 of the 1-year gold and platinum MBA programs since I started this company several years ago. And once students enroll, they can access the Slack community. And our current students and alumni are from all over the world. Our network of alumni and students from the MBA program is superb. And the sense of community is awesome, as our students love to network with each other and help each other achieve their career and business goals during class and outside of class. We are all in this together. Question: is the MBA degree program accredited? No. And it never will be. And this is a good thing. This is not a degree mill. I'm here to help you take your career to the next level or your money back. And if you don't feel that you're getting literally a 10 times return on your investment in this MBA degree program in just the first month, I want you to ask for your money back. And I do not allow any government organization to offer an accreditation for this program. The program is based on real-life practical experience. And unlike many MBA schools, the program is not based on theory, as theoretical business education concepts are often impossible to apply in the real world. This course is not accredited by any U.S. or international educational or governmental board or agency. Amongst other criteria, an accredited MBA degree program requires a governing body to make determinations about its curriculum. And I believe that traditional university-based governing bodies prefer to teach theory instead of real-life practical skills that you can immediately apply to enhance your career. Question: do you have any payment plans available? Yes. When you sign up for the MBA, you have the option to pay in full or in 3 or 6 monthly installments. And this has never been about the money for me. I want you to have a strong foundation and skill set to help you succeed at the price point that works best for you too. Question: what if I decide if the program is not for me? Well, as with all my courses, this MBA comes with a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee. And if you're not satisfied for any reason, we will refund your money, no questions asked. And about 1% of my students historically ask for their money back. And I understand that life can get in the way, and even investing in yourself is a big decision. We're almost done here. Question: do I need a university degree or any business or finance knowledge to join the MBA program? No. Everybody is welcome to join. If you already have an MBA, you're also welcome to join us. And people from many countries and backgrounds have taken this MBA degree program. Many are doctors, engineers, yoga instructors, young people wanting to start their career in finance, older people who are unsatisfied with their current jobs, and so much more. Everyone is welcome to join, and everyone can materially benefit from the program. And no prior business or finance or accounting experience or business knowledge at all is required. I will teach you all of that inside the MBA program. And so welcome to day one and not one day. And with that, please let me know if you have any questions about the MBA program or any other business or finance or career questions in general. As always, I'm here to humbly help you, and thank you. Okay, let me get to your questions now. Okay, so first up I have got, and what I'm going to do is I am going to look here to see if there's questions about the MBA program. Actually, I'll just answer all questions in order. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for the donation. Really appreciate that, Prashant. Thank you. God bless you. You didn't have to do that. Thank you. So Prashant wrote, hi Chris, how are you? I'm great, thanks. I hope you're well. And that donation that you sent me is going directly to Project Magoo. You can go to Project Magoo, magu.org to learn more. It's one of the schools we built in Rwanda. And I'm visiting Rwanda this July. It was supposed to be June, it's now July, with one of my platinum students, Vital, to teach live from the class we built. So Prashant wrote, how are you? I'm great. I hope you're well. Thanks again for the donation. You wrote, have you added a technology section for silver students as well? Thank you. Also, I need your blessings for my new venture I started. Thank you. And I hope to see you later today on that Zoom call as well. So the technology section of the MBA degree program, meaning the Excel programming section, I'll show you what it looks like actually. Looks like this here. So it's for beginner students, intermediate, genius, or the all track. There's different tracks. I always love to have a massive total addressable market. And so this is going to be added to all MBA degree programs, all of them, okay? And it's going to hit your MBA and all the MBA programs by January 30th. And it'll teach you everything about Excel from scratch, as well as how to code and so much more. And no prior experience is required in programming or Excel to benefit from this either. So again, it'll hit all my MBA programs, exclusively my MBA programs, by January 30th. And the way to find it is go to the very end of the curriculum. It's going to be the second last lecture, and it's going to be really, really long as well. And thanks again for that. I appreciate that. All right, let me start from the top here. So first up, Ginny, who again graduated from my platinum program, I think it was 2 years ago, wrote, hi, Chris. Happy New Year. Great to see you as always, sister. You wrote, I hope you've been well. I'm back to networking, and it's been a blessing so far. Thank you. You're most welcome. I'm coming up against a couple of things I need your advice on, please. Absolutely. You wrote, I love finance and information technology. I want to work at the crossroad between finance and data science. What are some of the applications you've seen data science be applied to in the finance sector? Yeah, absolutely. And in my MBA degree program, the Excel stuff I'm adding soon, I went overboard. I teach you everything. I've got a data one here as well. Here it is here. The data ribbon needs to be ironed. So I teach you about data science within Excel. And Excel is the #1 data science tool on the planet. I know some of you might think that's not true. There's more sophisticated products out there. Yes, there are, but Excel has sold over 1 billion copies since it was released back in the late 1980s, and I've been using it for several decades. So within this Excel part of the curriculum, which again is going to hit all MBA products by this January 30th, I help you a lot with data science. I help you create pivot tables and dashboards, as you know, and so much more. And so I recommend always starting with Excel when you're interested in data science or data analytics in general. And I can't wait to get your feedback on if this adds value to you or not in the MBA degree program. Okay. All right, next question I've got is Ashley wrote, hi, I have a question. Sure. I have an LLC, a limited liability corporation, and please make sure everybody, I'm going to get down on my knees and pray. I want you all, please, I'm begging you, to register your company, okay, before you start it. That way, if there are any lawsuits that emerge when you're successful, and people will always come after you, it always happens, then they can't come after your house, your net worth, and all that stuff. And so you wrote here, I have an LLC, and I'm not a lawyer, and I filled out a DTF 95 form to get my partner off of the LLC. We've accumulated debt from the Internal Revenue Service for penalties. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Is it better to close out the LLC altogether and start fresh, or to keep the LLC and do a payment plan with the IRS? So my best recommendation to you is to go to LegalZoom, LegalZoom.com. And you can sign up for 6 months for $30 a month and talk to any type of lawyer you want to for a half-hour call each month and ask them. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Ginny wrote, do you think it's worthwhile, to do a master's in data science in Toronto? I'm moving to Canada, or is an online degree enough? Yeah. So what I would do is this. I would look for whatever job it is you want to have in 5 or 10 years, and look on LinkedIn to see what other people have degree-wise, if at all, or certifications that are already in that industry. And I recommend doing the first semester over again, the personal growth classes in the MBA program, where we talk about your simple, perfect resume in 10 years and how to fill that gap. Yeah. And good for you for networking. It's the only way to get a job. Now, the chances of you getting, or anybody getting a job by just applying online when you see a job opening is literally 1 out of 250. These are the rules. And you have to know somebody at the company. And the person that gets the job, meaning that one lucky person out of 250, usually knows somebody at the company. So you got to network aggressively. I teach you that in my MBA degree program. In the first couple of weeks of the program, your network is your net worth. And relationships are always more important than product knowledge. Okay, next question is, does data science cover everything that can be done with finance, or is it too generic and I need to find other online courses to fill the gap? ? Yeah. So I would say that you still need to understand the basics of finance and accounting. And so finance and accounting, it's like learning a different language, and it's not common sense, right? There are specific rules you have to learn. But once you understand finance and accounting, then I would make, and I think you already do, I would make the jump to learning data science by starting with Excel. And it's going to hit, again, your MBA program and all of my MBA degree programs by January 30th. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then you wrote, if my 10-year goal, okay, cool, is to get into companies like Renaissance Technologies, what do you advise someone like me to do? Yeah. So for those of you not familiar with Renaissance Technologies, it was founded by a brilliant man named Jim Simmons, and his son helps to run the company out here at Berkeley, here on the West Coast. Now, Jim used to work at the National Security Agency up until the early 1980s. Then he founded Renaissance Technologies, and it's a big hedge fund that has thousands of Linux servers running in parallel that pick stocks. And nobody knows what's in those Linux servers. And it's a big deal because his gross annual average return since the 1980s in his massive hedge fund is 60%. Yes, he uses data science a lot. And in those Linux servers, again, we don't know what's in them. They're guarded, but there's a lot of different inputs, data feeds, okay, from a data science perspective, that help him to pick stocks. One of them might be, for example, weather patterns. So here on the West Coast and lots of parts in America, there's a ton of rain. So if it's raining a lot, then short restaurant stocks because people don't go out to eat when it's raining a lot. Yeah. So what I would do, Ginny, is I would network with people that work at Renaissance using the methodologies explained in the first couple weeks of the personal growth track in semester 1 of the MBA degree program. And if you're having problems getting somebody there, let me know and I'll help you. And today during our weekly 2-hour gold and platinum MBA degree program office hours, it's every single Thursday from 11:20 till 1:20 Pacific time. Let me look at your LinkedIn profile and let me help you network. Okay. Next up, Rubina, who's started last June in my MBA program. She's from Pakistan and she lives in the United Kingdom, and she's building a school for underprivileged girls as well. And she's great. So Rubina wrote, hi, Chris. Hope and pray that you and your family are well. Likewise. A couple of questions for today's class. Number 1, what is a good business charter? Does every business need to have it? I'm not familiar with that term. It might be something United Kingdom oriented, but during the 3rd semester, okay, of the MBA degree program, and for your class, that means starting February 1st, we start entrepreneurship semester 3, class number 1. And through E3-1 through E3-5, entrepreneurship semester 3, class 1 through 5, we do the entire venture capital boot camp, which will cover all of the steps you need to build an incredible business model and a great business plan, including that terminology there. Again, I'm not familiar with what that means, but I'm sure we cover it as part of the Venture Capital Bootcamp. And then next up, Rubina wrote, when you say you want us to have mini hustles, side hustles, does each of the hustles need a separate bank account? I would try to put it under one umbrella-based company. And so for me, Haroun Education Ventures, Inc. Is my umbrella company that owns lots of other companies as well. And if you start too many companies, what happens is the annual filing fees are expensive. It costs over $800 now a year just to keep an LLC alive or afloat here on the West Coast. Yeah. All right. And then next up, Ginny wrote, thank you so much. You're most welcome. Great seeing your videos. They're really inspirational. Thank you. And were the reasons why I kept working on myself. I thank God you found your passion, Chris. Thank you. And it's so good to see you again. Welcome back. Next question is, give me 1 second here. All right, hold on a second, guys. Okay, next question is, did we cover how to write a contract for new clients? If not, can you please tell me who writes it and how to write one? Yeah. So contracts are taught in law school. And so never write an investment offering memorandum yourself or any contract, please. Always get a lawyer to do it. And so the way it works in general is, like, for example, when it comes to investment offering memorandums, like this S1 for Facebook or ticker Meta, which we study in the MBA Degree Program in a case study, this stuff is created by lawyers and investment bankers. You always get lawyers to write any type of contract, especially ones involving the exchange of capital. Yeah. Okay. Next up, I've got Paul Brau, who started my MBA program last year. Paul is from Barcelona. He's a great guy. He just got an incredible job. He's doing very well. And I met him actually in person in Barcelona several years ago. And if you guys remember, I was wearing that Qatar jersey, or Qatar jersey a couple of weeks ago. That was from Paul. So Paul wrote, good morning, Chris. Good morning, brother. Hope you're doing great. Likewise. What are your thoughts on investing platforms such as Crowdcube, where you can crowdfund startups in exchange for equity? I'm not a big fan. I prefer to use the traditional route of getting a lawyer to create an investment offering memorandum to help you raise capital. Yeah. And in the MBA Degree Program, we're going to be doing in your program, because you start in September, in May, we'll start the Venture Capital Bootcamp, and I'll explain that in much more detail then. Yeah, I'll help you raise money. I've humbly raised and managed over $1 billion in my career. I'll teach you all my tricks. Yeah. And I've failed a lot too. You learn from my failures. Yeah. Okay. All right, next up, Alex, who's from Utah, wrote, good morning, Chris. It was great to see you on Zoom a couple of weeks ago. Alex wrote, good morning, Chris. What are your thoughts on buying real estate from sheriff sales in U.S. counties? Yeah, so if you're referring to real estate that's been seized by the government because people couldn't make payments or they defaulted on their loans, I think it's an incredible way to invest in assets on the cheap. Now, when it comes to real estate, you always want to buy the crappiest house in the nicest neighborhood instead of the nicest house in the crappiest neighborhood. And you can use online resources like Zillow.com to find out what the property value should be using the comps or comparisons. Okay. And then you wrote, what about buying real estate from REO banks and brokers? I would first of all understand the fee structure completely. A lot of these real estate firms will take commissions that are 5, sometimes 10%. So understand the fee structure thoroughly first. And before you purchase anything, always hire a lawyer at LegalZoom.com. And I'm not affiliated with anybody, nor will I ever be. I turn down all sponsorships. I want to stay true and pure to my students. I'm not affiliated with LegalZoom or anybody. But I would call LegalZoom and get them to review any sort of contract that you're about to sign when it comes to buying a piece of real estate or any sort of employment contract as well. Yeah. Okay. Next up, I have got Caroline. Caroline's in my MBA program. She's from France, but she lives now in Ontario. She got married recently in Nova Scotia. Great to see. She has 2 cats named Mimi and Mumu. I have 2 cats now too. So Caroline wrote, good morning, Chris. Looking forward to seeing you during silver office hours at 10 a.m. Awesome. Likewise. Manalas from India wrote, good morning, my dear mentor. Chris, please. Hope all is well. What a wonderful day. It is, and thank you. It's raining, but we need it here on the West Coast. Moving on to Ankit, who wrote, hi, Chris. I'm an arts graduate. How can your course help me get a job? Yeah. So I teach you in my MBA degree program how to network on steroids. If you're in the platinum version of my MBA program, I personally write your entire LinkedIn profile with you during the 3 hours of one-on-one office hours. And so it doesn't matter what degree you have or don't have, what program you're in, etc. You can always get what you want by aggressively networking. And there's so many examples of people that have high school degrees and no university degree that started in the mailroom and became CEO by networking. There's many examples, including Sidney Weinberg, who was the CEO of Goldman Sachs for a couple decades. He started in the mailroom, no education. Same thing with Simon Cowell from American Idol. Also David Geffen from Geffen Records. Barry Diller from Interactive. He owns a lot of internet companies. There's so many examples. The former president of ESPN, the former editor-in-chief of Cosmopolitan, etc. Yeah. You can network to get what you want in life. Now, if you want, you can go to my website and download a networking book that I have. And when you're on my website, harounmba.com, you can click here if you want to schedule a one-on-one Zoom call with me. But if you scroll down on my website here to the bottom, I'll hit the end key. You can download this book called Networking to Get Customers, a Job, or Anything You Want. Screen, turn it okay. Cool. All right. Next up, EB94 wrote, good morning, Chris. Has the program class been added to the MBA Silver? It's going to be added to all MBA degree programs by January 30th. And again, it will be right at the end of the program as an elective, a massive elective. It'll be in the second last lecture. Yeah, right before the graduation lecture. Okay, next up, we have Pride, who's in my MBA program. Pride wrote, happy 2023. Likewise, same with you. And I hope you resolve that login issue. If not, please let me know. Yeah, and I recommend my students use Chrome and not Microsoft Edge when they're accessing my products. Chrome works a lot better. Okay, so Pride wrote, hi, Chris, happy 2023. Likewise. Can you please explain these terms in private equity? Yeah. So first of all, private equity, for those who are not familiar with it, it's similar to a hedge fund, except it's companies that raise a lot of money, and they use that money to buy private or public companies, turn them around by changing the management team, etc., and then selling it back to the public markets or private markets for a profit. And a great example of this is Carl Icahn. And so Carl Icahn did this with eBay. He's done this with a number of other companies. And we do a couple of case studies on Carl Icahn and the private equity sector in my MBA degree program. So in terms of what you want more details on, fund of funds. Yeah. So fund of funds is a generic term, not just for the private equity sector, but also for the hedge fund sector and other sectors. It's basically massive pools of capital that invest in venture capital firms, hedge funds, and private equity firms. In terms of fund placement services, that might refer to a service where you might be able to raise capital from or invest in to access different investment vehicles or alternative assets like hedge funds as well as private equity, less so venture capital though. Okay. And then you wrote syndication. Yeah. So syndication basically means a bunch of firms that get together in the financial services sector that will underwrite or do a big financial transaction. So for example, and you can get this from sec.gov, this is the S1 offering, meaning the investment offering memorandum or prospectus for the Facebook IPO. And we do a case study of this in the MBA program. In this syndication, I'm going to get closer here. Okay, we've got Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs that underwrote and headed up this syndicate. Yeah. Okay. All right. And if you have additional questions based on that, please let me know. Okay, next up, ESW wrote, I followed your classes to become a software engineer, but I didn't follow your advice and I did it for the money. Yeah. I'm now following my passion for education and teaching. Education doesn't pay much. Yeah. Actually, if you watch my TEDx talk that I gave in 2016, I talk about how T can change the world, TEA, technology, education, and acceptance. And in that TEDx talk, I talk about how teachers are going to be the number one, number one in terms of net income in the services sector. Because if you're a doctor or, God forbid, a lawyer, unless you're a civil rights lawyer, then I love you. But if you're a doctor or a lawyer, you can only have one customer at a time or patient at a time. If you're a teacher, you can write once, read many, meaning create online content and have millions of customers at the same time. And I've humbly have more than 1.5 million paying students in every country in the world. It is scalable, I promise you. And just go to teachable.com to learn how to create your own courses online, hosted on your website like I do. Or you can go to udemy.com and put your courses on their platform. Yeah. And in EdTech, Udemy is Google and everyone else is Bing. Yeah. All right. But God bless you for following your passion. Yeah. All right. Next up, Dane wrote, Denver Silver here. Hey, Denver, how are you? Good to see you. Abra 2 wrote, hi from London. Great to see you. And then Neuro Lover wrote, hi, Chris. Hey, I'm a medical doctor. And we have lots of doctors in my MBA program from all over the world. I'm a medical doctor and a master in economics. I have a double degree. I'm also a successful day trader. I would like to combine the two. If I may dream, I would like to create a hedge fund. Yeah. So I've started a hedge fund before. I set up what's called a master feeder structure, meaning I had an online, a domestic version of my hedge fund and offshore, and both fed into my limited liability corporation. I can teach you about that as well. I use the British Virgin Islands, BVI, for offshore because it's a lot cheaper than the Cayman Islands as well. And I can teach you that as well in my MBA degree program. Yeah. But please don't day trade. Please be longer term focused. And I say I would love my heart. Yeah. And I say that because I can't think of the names of any successful day traders. If you know their names, please share them with me. They just don't exist because every single month has 20 weekdays, meaning 20 days when the market is open. And making money every single month is impossible because stocks go up and down for geopolitical reasons in the short term that are outside of our control. For example, what Putin might say, or Biden might say, or saber rattling potentially between countries like, China and the United States. Or let's say you invest in a semiconductor company and it crashes because one of its competitors, Intel, for example, releases crappy earnings. It's hard to make money trading in the short run. Please be long-term focused. Yeah. I say with love my heart, of course. Okay. Next up, Manas wrote, the United States has reached its debt ceiling. What does that mean and what's next? Yes, I would not worry. I remember years ago, the United States debt was downgraded and everybody freaked out. But whenever a first world country's debt is downgraded, 1 year later, the markets are usually higher, right? If you want historical precedents, not only the United States, one data point doesn't make a trend, but a couple does. You can also look at Japan, whose debt was downgraded. The market was up 1 year later. Same thing with Canada years ago. Yeah. I wouldn't be concerned about this at all. Yeah. So the United States government is the lender of last resorts. It is the last entity on the planet. And look, America has a lot of problems too. But I really do believe that the last entity or business, so to speak, that would go bankrupt is U.S. government. Yeah. Okay. The media needs something to talk about these days, I guess. All right. Next up, Nkit wrote, Chris, what are your views on India becoming the world's most populated country? Yeah, I'm a huge fan of India, biggest democracy in the world. I think it's America's best friend in the long run and capitalism's best friend in the long run. You're probably seeing media reports about that because for the first time in decades, the population in China contracted, partially because of COVID and all that stuff. So I'm very bullish on India longer term. I've invested a lot in India over the years. I love particularly the technology sector in India. I've invested in Wipro, Infosys, Satyam. I've taught in India as well, in Mumbai, as well as in Delhi. I've done a lot of investing there in Crompton and Greaves, which is an engineering and services company there, all the Tatas, et cetera. I'm bullish on India in the long run. I think it's a solid long-term investment. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Anas wrote, from Spain, I took a nice course, how to build a full comprehensive business plan. Thank you. I appreciate that. And in my MBA degree program, I talk in a lot of detail about how to start a company in the venture capital bootcamp. based on my experience teaching at lots of Bay Area universities, and also being a venture capitalist, having invested in many companies, sat in the boards of many companies. I invested in Facebook pre-IPO when I worked in VC, also Palantir, etc. Yeah, so I teach you based on my experience. Yeah, thank you. Okay, next up, we've got Andre. Andre, how are you? Andre wrote, good morning, Chris. I took your MBA Platinum and other courses from Udemy. The greatest investment I did. Thank you, and God bless you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. And there's an Andre in my Platinum program that started in 2019 who's from Ohio. Let me know if that's you. Yeah, thank you. It's good to see you. Okay, moving on to Neuro Lover, who wrote, and I think the first part of your question was you want to create a hedge fund. And then you wrote, but also I would like when I've made it successful to work with Doctors Without Borders. Yeah. So my favorite, God bless you for that. I love that. I love charitable stuff. My favorite charity that I proudly serve on the board of is called Doctors Without Diplomas. Okay. Now the next, I'm totally kidding. That was awful dad humor of the day. I told you my humor is awful, my dad humor. And again, in my MBA program, I have too much really, really bad dad humor. Sorry about that. Totally kidding. But God bless you for doing Doctors Without Borders. Then you wrote, do you think this can be done? I finished 2 colleges at the same time, so I try my best. I'm currently a surgery resident. God bless you. Good for you. My dad and my brother are doctors. They're radiologists, which means they fix radios. I'm going to stop right now. There's no more dad humor for the rest of this call. I promise you. Yeah. So in my MBA degree program, in the first semester in the personal growth track, I teach you how to accomplish much, much more using a methodology that I created that will help you plan each day, right? So I have tons and tons of templates to help you plan each day, etc. It's not that messy for you. It is for me. Yeah. But I help you accomplish a lot more. Yeah. And if you want to get something done, you give it to a busy person. And you always notice how we all have these friends, who are in great shape. They have a great personal life. They find time to exercise, and they're doing extraordinarily well career-wise. It's because they're busy. So again, if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. And I teach you how to be much more productive in my MBA degree program. Yeah, thank you. And I'm so sorry for my awful humor. Okay. Next up, but please make sure you write a full business plan first before you start any company. And this goes to everybody in this call, and I say it with love in my heart. Failing to plan is planning to fail. And most people fail with startups because they didn't plan accordingly, especially the financial statement projections. Without data, it's an opinion and nothing more. And the way you know you have a good business model is if you finish the business plan. And in my venture capital bootcamp, I ask you close to 1,000 questions that you document, which helps to automate and create a 150-page business plan for you. So I'll uncover and humbly help you the best I can. Any potential issues so that you can be preemptive and understand the issues before you decide to launch a company. Yeah. Okay. All right, next up, Creative Lightbox wrote, hi, Chris. Hey, I have a question regarding the MBA. Sure. If I choose the 6 installment payments option today, when exactly are you going to charge the money? Every 19th or every 30th for the next 6 months? Thanks from Jose. Thank you for that. Yeah. So the way it works is once you sign up, your first payment is today. Okay. And then every month after today, you'll get charged as well for 3 or 6 months. And you get a 100% money back guarantee that is all the way up until 30 days after we start. So what that means is this. If you sign up today, and there are limited spots, it's going to be a smaller gold and platinum class this session. But if you sign up today, you get your money back all the way up until 30 days after the January 30th start date, which means you get 100% of your money back all the way up until March 1st. Yeah. And let me just quickly show you, because some people probably have questions about the payment plans. So if you go to HarounEducation.com/FAQ. Okay. And you click here to enroll, for example, in gold. What you'll see is at the very bottom, there's payment plans. Okay, so let me go down to the bottom here. It's very long, sorry. Okay. Yeah. So you can enroll pay one-time fee of $999, which is $500 off, or you can do 3 payments of $379, or you can do 6 payments now, and this is new, of $199. So if you sign up today, you'll get charged $199 today and 30 days from now for 6 months. But you can get 100% of your money back, and the 30-day money-back guarantee applies to all these tiers here, all the way up until 30 days after we start, which again is going to be on January 30th. And again, classes are every Monday and Tuesday, starting January 30th, from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. Pacific time. Okay. All right. Next up, a neuro lover wrote, so I have a passion for trading, but in the long run, I'd like to do humanitarian medicine in Africa. I love that. I love that. Very cool. Very cool. Please be careful with trading. I'd rather you to be long-term focused, and I teach you how to invest. And I provide you with all the tools and templates to be a long-term investor in my MBA degree program. Yeah. And we actually use this. We had a massive flood here on my driveway, and there was a pipe that I had to actually turn off with this in the middle of the night. This prop came in handy. It's rusting a little bit now. Okay, Akili wrote, hello, Chris and team. Good to see you. Moving on to Pelosity, who wrote, hi, Chris. How are you? I'm always great. Thanks. I hope you're doing well. You wrote, I just started your silver MBA degree program. Thank you. I've also taken an English course, so it helps with Zoom calls in your program. Awesome. Awesome. And thank you. I'm looking forward to getting to know you and helping you humbly in any way I can. Thank you. Moving on to Wendy. Hey, Wendy, how are you? It's been a while. Wendy wrote, hi, Chris. Will the Excel portion be added to the silver program once the recordings are done in the gold and platinum course? Yeah, it's going to be added immediately. So yeah, it'll be added by January 30th to all gold, platinum, and silver MBA degree programs, whether you purchased it years ago, you purchased today, or you're going to purchase it in the future. Yeah. I can't wait till you guys see it. It took me over a year to make it. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to Manas, who wrote, Binance recently opened its options department. Can you please visit the site and explain how that works, please? Because only Binance offers options for educational purposes only. Yeah, yeah. So in my MBA program, in FA44, that's Finance and Accounting, Semester 4, Class 4, I added a 30-hour elective that'll teach you options and derivatives from scratch, meaning calls, puts, etc. Puts basically means protection. So if you buy Coca-Cola stock KO, ticker KO, and you want to protect the downside, you can buy a put. Yeah, and I got this from the Coca-Cola Museum in Atlanta. Hotlanta. It was hot there, yeah. If you want me to go to their website, I'll take a look, yeah. But please, please, please practice first using my MBA degree content for a while before transacting in options. And if you are going to do options, please make sure that you only buy puts and buy calls. I don't want you to underwrite options. I teach you 30 option strategies in my MBA degree program as part of an elective. And the problem is if you underwrite or you sell options, your losses can be unlimited. So please be careful. Okay, so you wrote here, it's on their website. Let me just do a quick search here. Options. Yeah, I don't find anything here. So let me search here. Binance.com options. Okay. Binance options, a step-by-step. Please be careful of this. Okay. The new Binance options trading platform. Okay. Yeah, what I would do, Manas, is I would practice first, okay, understanding options in detail, not on the Binance website, okay? I would practice it first with a paper portfolio. And what you can do is there's this company called Thinkorswim, which is owned by TD Ameritrade. And it's this amazing application you can download, and you can create a paper portfolio to trade, okay? And if you have problems getting access to it in India, please use a VPN, because I think this is the best way to learn options for free. Again, use a paper account, meaning a pretend account, not real money, for at least 6 months before you place your first trade. And when you do place your first options trade, I want you to only buy a small amount of calls or puts. In 6 months, after you practice for 6 months, I teach you all about options in a massive elective in my MBA degree program. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Ukraine Interior Ministry died in a crash Is it foul play or an accident? God bless his or her soul. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, Dr. Chet, how are you, man? Dr. Chet wrote, "Hi, Chris. Looking forward to your insight today. Great to see you. I'm sorry about my doctors without diplomas joke before." Yeah. So Chet's in my MBA degree program as well. He's a great guy. Yeah. Good to see you as always. Okay. Manas wrote, "Will the Fed raise rates? And is a bull run at least 15 months delayed? What are your thoughts?" Yeah. So yes, the Federal Reserve will continue to raise rates. But what we care about is the rate of change of rate increases. Okay. So, 6 months ago, every month, the Federal Reserve was raising interest rates in the United States by 75 basis points, which means 0.75%. Well, since then, they've slowed the rate of rate increases because inflation is getting less bad to 50 basis points. And I think in a couple of months, it'll be 25 basis points per month. And eventually, they'll start cutting rates maybe next year. In terms of the timing of a bull market, usually the stock market discounts what's going to happen in the economy 6 months ahead of plan. So I think we're close to a bottom. I really do. I'm an optimist. Can I time the market? Nobody can. The markets can stay irrational longer than we can stay solvent. Yeah. But I'm a long-term investor. If you're not sure where to put your money right now, I always recommend buying ticker VOO. And that basically is an ETF, a collection of 500 stocks. Let me show you. I put a lot of money into this when I don't have time to do investment research. So if we go to finance.yahoo.com, and always do your own research, please. And you type in VOO, okay? So VOO is offered by Vanguard. It's an ETF that represents the 500 stocks that make up the US markets. And the expense ratio, it's a little bit lower than that. I think it's closer to 1 penny for every $100 you invest per year. I think that this is a typo, actually. But the way it works is this represents the 500 stocks that make up the U.S. economy. And on average, it's up 10.5% every year, on average historically. So if you took your 20K or 22K 401K or retirement savings every year, and you put it in this, then after 20 years, you would have over $1 million. If your spouse did it, you'd have over $2 million. If you put it in your kid's educational savings account for 18 years for each of them, you'd have $700K for each. So all of a sudden, you're worth a couple $1 million in 20 years by passive investing in this here. So if we go here to the holdings, you'll see that the 12 sectors that make up the breadth and depth of the U.S. economy, okay, the S&P 500. The biggest sector is the tech sector, of course. And the U.S. markets, you'll notice, have been underperforming the European markets lately. And one of the reasons is because, look at this, the top positions in the U.S. markets and the S&P 500 ticker VOO are tech companies. And tech companies overhired during the COVID crisis. And now I think they're overfiring. They're cutting into muscle, not just fat. And so the United States economy is based more so on technology than the European economies are. And that's one of the reasons why the European markets have been materially outperforming the U.S. markets recently. Okay. All right. Next up, Dane wrote, "Just so you know, when you say MBA, the subtitles frequently interpret that as NBA, a different organization." Thanks. No, I see that when I get closed captions on rev.com as well. Yeah. Also, my last name, Haroun, they call it Haroun sometimes. Yeah. But Haroun rhymes with baboon. Now you'll never forget. And when I was younger, we used to go out to dinner, the 6 of us, my mom, dad, my brother, and 2 sisters. And they used to page us that our table was ready. And they say, Haroun or heroin, party of 6, heroin, party of 6. Okay. Moving on to Dane, who wrote, "What does your new coursework do for us lowly silver MBA students?" Yeah. No, please, I love all my students. So the new addition to the MBA program, which is going to hit silver, gold, platinum, by January 30th, will teach you how to program from scratch, okay? And I love starting with Microsoft Excel when teaching you how to code, okay? Because it's visual to the extent that you record yourself creating a macro, and then the code is automatically added for you. And then what you can do is you can manipulate the code and change it here directly, okay? So anyway. And I've got it running on Mac and Windows as well. So here's some of the sample of the code that I created and that the macros added as well. Yeah. All right. And if anybody has questions about that, let me know, please. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Paul from Montreal, I think, wrote, good morning, Chris. What is the best ETF I can invest in to generate dividend revenues per month, 2,000 to 3,000? I'm in Canada. Yeah, so the S&P 500 ETF, ticker VOO, has, I think, a dividend yield of 1.68%. So it's not very much. So what you want to do is you want to do a search on value-based ETFs that have high dividend yields that are very liquid. And I'm going to show you how to do research on ETFs with a great free online resource. So you go to etfdb.com. That's etfdatabase.com. And what you can do is you can screen thousands of types of ETFs, okay, by geography, by sector, etc. So dividends, that's probably one you want to look at right here. Okay. So let's look right here. So we got Vanguard Dividend Appreciation ETF, VIG. Okay. So let me click this. And what I always love to do is I love to go and look at this on Yahoo Finance. So the ticker of this bad boy here is VIG. So let's pull this up and see what the yield is. Vanguard is the best ETF company on the planet. Okay. So the yield here is higher. It's not amazing, but it's 2%. This is probably, relatively speaking, a lower risk investment than other ETFs from other companies. The average volume is close to 2 million shares per day, times $150, so you can get in and out quickly if need be. Let's look at the holdings. Okay, so in terms of the breadth and depth, a lot of it is financial services companies that have healthy relative dividend yields, less so tech companies than the S&P, because tech companies usually don't have juicy dividends, okay, unless they're a large firm like Microsoft here. JP Morgan, J&J, which has a good yield, Walmart, etc. What you can do if you want to is you can do research on all these individual companies to find out what their respective yields are and purchase these companies individually and assemble your own ETF, so to speak, so you don't pay the ETF fee. Okay. So J&J, for example, its dividend yield is a healthy 2.61%. Now, with this ETF, the fees are, I think I saw 0.06. And what that means right here is you'll pay 6 pennies every year for every $100 you invest, which is not that bad. So what I would do is I would use this resource here and do a search on other higher yielding dividend based funds. I'll show you one more really quick and then we'll move on. So let's do Schwab. Schwab's another great company. Talked to Chuck, and I met Chuck Schwab actually and his wife here in Atherton at a party not too long ago. All right, so this one here has got the same expense ratio. Let's see if it has a better yield. Ticker is SCHD. Copy, paste. And let's see what the yield is on this one, if it's better than 1.96. Yes, this one is a lot better, 3.39%. Okay, and the fees are 6 pennies for every $100 you invest in. This looks like a better one to me. And it's very liquid, trades 3 million shares a day times 75. Let's see what the holdings are. Okay. So a little bit more healthcare focused. Merck has a healthy dividend yield. Amgen, biotech company as well. You got Broadcom, sorry. Pepsi, BlackRock, etc. Lockheed Martin, big defense contractor doing well for obvious reasons lately, etc. And telco companies usually have healthy yields as well. I think this is your pick here. I do more research on this, but this is the one I think you look at. Okay. All right. One more thing, Paul, from Montreal. Make sure that you can buy that ETF in your RRSP, which is your Registered Retirement Savings Program in Canada, which is like Canada's version of the 401k. Yeah. So you don't pay taxes till you take the money out years from now. All right, moving on to Roy. Hey, Roy wrote, just be careful with a limited company. As I learned the hard way in Poland, as the president, you are still personally liable. This is not the case in Ireland or the United Kingdom. Yeah. Ireland has great tax laws as well. Yeah, fantastic. Corporate tax in Ireland is only 11.5%, which is why companies like Intel, the Tops Corporation, etc., all have offices there. Yeah. All right. Next up, I got Michelle. Hey, Michelle, how are you? Good morning, Chris. Good to see you. Michelle is from Texas. She is in my MBA program. She's awesome. And then Michelle wrote to Ashley, the IRS has first-time forgiveness to corporations. It might be worth a call to them to see if they will forgive some of the penalties. Yeah. And also, Ashley, you might want to ask the lawyer about declaring Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Okay, just ask them about it if there's a lot of debt that you guys owe. Okay, if you have outstanding loans. Now, in the United States government created bankruptcy laws back in 1979. There's 300 bankruptcy courts across America, and there's a lot of chapters or parts of that legal bankruptcy code. Chapter 11 deals with companies declaring a bankruptcy. And statistically, more than 70% of companies that declare bankruptcy, if there's no fraud involved, more than 70% come out better off than ever 4 months after they declare bankruptcy. So the way it works is this. When you declare Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and talk to a lawyer first, of course, it's like you have a force field around you for 4 months. So nobody can touch you for 4 months. And what you do is you talk to all the people you owe money to, and you renegotiate so that they get something, but not 100% of the debt. They'd rather get something rather than nothing. Yeah. Okay, next up, Rubina wrote, thank you, Chris. Your replies make a lot of sense right now. You're most welcome. If you have additional questions about fund of funds or the private equity sector or syndications, please let me know. Thank you. All right, next up, we got Eugene, who wrote, hello, Chris. Hello from Toronto here. Awesome, my people. I'm from Mississauga. I'm a fellow 905er. Maybe your area code 416, I don't know. You wrote, I took your Udemy course on getting a dream job, and I just got a job offer using advice from your course. Thank you for the inspiration and practical tips. F&A, man, I'm happy for you. Really happy for you. Fantastic. Nice. Okay. I'm fired up, man. Awesome. And then Eugene wrote, I'm considering joining your MBA program, and I have a question. Sure. Can the MBA program help me to become a good product manager in a tech company? I teach all aspects of business in the MBA degree program. So yes, it will help. But if you want to take one course that's going to teach you about being a product manager, I want you to do a search on Evan Kimbrell, who I think is the best business teacher on Udemy. And I'll show you. And he's a product manager as well. His course is fabulous. I've taken it as well. Udemy, Evan Kimbrell. He's a good dude too. I met him in Germany back in 2019. Yeah. So this here is Evan. Really, really good guy. Take this course here. It's called Become a Product Manager, Learn the Skills, and Get the Job. And I took this course as well years ago. It came out, I think, in the summer of 2016. It's fantastic. Again, Evan is probably the best educator on the planet when it comes to business and also product management. And he's a good guy. Okay. Next up, Solomon wrote, is your MBA degree program considered an official MBA degree in all countries around the globe? As I mentioned earlier, I will never let any government agency accredit or tell me what I can and can't teach you in the MBA degree program. Now, what I learned was after I did my MBA at Columbia University 8 million years ago, I learned that the most important concepts in business to make you successful are not taught in business schools, which is why I wrote this book. So traditional MBA schools do not teach you how to sell. They don't teach you how to interview. They don't teach you how to network. They don't teach you how to get a job. They don't teach you how to present. They don't teach you how to manage your own money. They teach you how to manage other people's money. And they also don't teach you how to start a company. I teach you all that stuff and much more in my MBA degree program. Ask anybody that has ever graduated from MBA program, the day they graduate, do you know how to do all those aforementioned skills I mentioned? And do you know how to start a company? The answer is no. Yeah. Okay. Okay, next up, Amit wrote, hi, Chris. Hey, what do you think about AI, artificial intelligence, in 5 years or so, with even larger language models like ChatGPT being there and its impact on the job market? Yeah, I wouldn't be worried about the impact that ChatGPT or AI is going to have on our jobs. You know, worrying about that is just like worrying about worrying about factory automation or robots taking jobs. You know, we will always reskill and leverage technology to help us be more productive. And there's a lot of teachers out there that are really worried about ChatGPT. And they're worried that, oh my God, students aren't going to do their homework anymore. They're going to use ChatGPT. Well, I say this. Back in 1999, when Google was first released publicly, people said the same thing. Oh my God, Google's going to change, universities and no, it's going to help us be more productive, always. Now, in terms of the impact of ChatGPT, which is unbelievable, I think what's going to happen, this is my prediction, I think Microsoft with Bing is going to start to chip away at market share from Google. And the biggest threat to Google since they launched, or since the company was founded in late 98, the biggest threat to them right now is ChatGPT. It's the biggest risk they've ever had. Now, what Microsoft is going to do, now Microsoft invested $1 billion in ChatGPT. ChatGPT was founded back in 2015. Elon Musk is one of the original investors as well. And they're going to do an IPO soon. And the market cap is going to be $29 billion, according to people familiar with the matter. But what Microsoft is doing, and Microsoft, I'm sure, wants to acquire the whole company. By this March, according to people familiar with the matter, Microsoft is going to re-engineer and re-release Bing so it uses ChatGPT. And I think the $1 trillion market opportunity is whatever company figures out how to leverage ChatGPT for audio use. So instead of me asking Alexa or SIRI, a question and not always getting the best response, you'll be able to leverage maybe Bing, I don't know, and ChatGPT for audible-based operating system exposure. Yeah. So I'm bullish. Yes, in 5 years, it'll be a much more relevant industry than it is today. Yeah, and the future is now. It's scary how good it is, too. Yeah, but be careful with ChatGPT when it comes to statistics. You always have to verify. I found a bunch of inaccuracies when I've leveraged it as well. So always double check the numbers. Yeah. My teeth are getting whiter because I use a straw now. Yeah. All right, what do we got next here? All right, so Mecca Fox wrote, we were always taught to avoid a market under $23 million TAM. But if you're caught in a situation when the market is under 23 million TAM, what and how would be the strategy to differentiate to be successful? Yeah. So my thought process on this is I never recommend starting a company if the TAM is less than $20 billion. And there's a great venture capital firm I partnered with before called Kleiner Perkins. And generally speaking, they don't invest in startups. And they're the same firm that backed Google, Amazon, et cetera. And I met with John Doerr there before. He's a great venture capitalist. Yeah, he wouldn't remember me, though, because I'm nobody. But at Kleiner Perkins, they usually don't invest in startups where the end market, the total addressable market, is less than $20 billion. And the reason is, if that company they invest in a $20 billion total addressable market, is successful, and most of these venture capital investments go to zero, but if it's successful and it gets 5% share of that $20 billion market, then that means it's a $1 billion company revenue-wise on an annual basis. So I always recommend looking at massive TAMs. And you might think to yourself, Chris, what if the market doesn't exist yet? It does. We just have to think about it differently. So for example, when Travis was looking to start Uber, the online taxi market didn't exist. But the old school taxi medallion market existed, of course, and it was massive. It was massive. So in terms of the TAM in the sector you're affiliated with being 23 million, I would try to see what that is based on. If it's a domestic TAM, try to see if there's ways to access your product globally through direct and indirect distribution channels, where the TAM will be much, much bigger. And in my MBA degree program, I help you with your go-to-market strategy and assessing all aspects of your business model as part of the VC Bootcamp in the 3rd semester. And if you have follow-up questions, please let me know, and thank you. Okay. All right. Next up, Kevin wrote, hey, Chris. Hey, how would you recommend on coming up with trading ideas when you can't seem to think of any from an actively managed portfolio? Yeah, so the best way to think of long-term investment ideas is to take a step back and see the forest from the trees and ask yourself this basic question. In 5 years, which sectors or companies or products or services will be more relevant than they are today? And I know it sounds simplistic, but by doing that, it stops you from getting seduced by buying companies that are cheap. They're cheap for a reason. So start high level. And I always recommend using the product. And I remember when I worked at Citadel, my boss would always tell me, Chris, if you can't explain it, you don't understand it. Make sure you invest in companies where you've used the product. And you can read a book by the former head of the Fidelity Magellan Fund, a guy named Peter Lynch, called One Up on Wall Street. And what Peter Lynch and his wife did, and one of the reasons he was so incredibly successful in the 80s and 90s as a portfolio manager at Fidelity, is they would try the product first. Always try the product if you can. Yeah. And then in my MBA degree program, I also have a 100-step template you can use to analyze any company. It's one of the many tools I provide you with. So we analyze in this order: fundamentals first, valuation second, and a distant third either is technical analysis. Yeah, and we only use technical analysis from to understand when to scale a position or to take profits, if it's oversold or overbought, respectively. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Rory wrote, I spotted on Binance that the Mazars company that gives proof of reserve is signed Mazars and not by the person, which makes it null and void. Yeah, and I'm not familiar with that at all. But generally speaking, this is a side note, completely off topic. Please don't invest in companies that don't have brand name auditors. Like KPMG is a brand name auditor. There's 4 big ones. And if you look at FTX, they did not have a brand name auditor as well, blessing the financial statements. Yeah. Okay, next up, Michael. Hey, Michael. Michael wrote, I see you use Yahoo Finance for research. Do you use Stock Unlock as well? I do not. Yeah. And I don't recommend that my students pay for any research services. And I recommend that my students do all of their own investment research themselves. Never listen to anybody, including me, in terms of exactly what stocks to buy. Always do your own research. Yeah. Otherwise, what will happen is you'll sell at the worst time. And Warren Buffett said, the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when it goes on sale. Yeah. Always do your own research, please, because nobody is smarter than you. All right. Whew. Feel good, man. All right. Next up, Abhishek. Hey, Abhishek, how are you, man? Abby, it's been a while. Hope you're doing well. So Abby wrote, hey, Chris, what is the best stream to earn money for students online? Your opinion. Yeah. I really think the best side hustle out there is teaching. I'm not just saying because I've done it. I'm saying it because everybody has something to teach. Everybody does. Even Ninja, who my kids really like, he's this guy that plays Fortnite and streams on Twitch. He started out teaching on Udemy how to use Twitch. I really think it's the best deal out there. And it's infinitely scalable as well. Yeah. And then Michael wrote, I'm from the United Kingdom, and my broker does not allow me to buy VU. I can buy VUAG or VUSA. How do you compare these two? Which one is better? Yeah, I'll take a look and give you my humble thoughts. Yeah. All right, Evan. Let me go here, and I will look at both. And what I'm going to look at is I'm going to look at the fee structure as well as liquidity, the volume. Okay. All right. So first up, we'll do VUAG. Okay. Vanguard. Good. Okay. First of all, the volume. I don't like this. It's not that liquid. Alexa, what's 22,000 times 60?
22,000 times 60 is 1,320,000.
Yeah, that's not very much. Yeah, so that's very illiquid, actually. So I'd be careful with this one, although the fee structure here is quite low. In terms of the holdings, let me see here if I can get any data on this. I don't know why a new pop-up just opened. Yeah, so I don't like that one. It's not liquid enough. Let's see the next one. The next one you mentioned is VUSA, which probably means Vanguard USA. Okay. Vanguard US. Yeah, this is not liquid enough either. Yeah, same expense ratio. Yeah. I would look around to see if there are other ETF companies where you can get access to the S&P 500. You might want to look at Schwab. You can look at iShares as well. Yeah, I keep looking. Yeah. Okay, next up, Manas wrote, I'm using Thinkorswim app. It's dope on a rope. I'm long on Tesla. Awesome. Nice. Yeah, and it looks like Elon is now focusing more so on Tesla again, thank goodness, and less so on Twitter. And whenever a CEO, founder, or he wasn't a founder of Tesla, but whenever a CEO or a founder takes their eye off the ball and they're focused on something else, it means that there's going to be misexecution. And so when I worked in the hedge fund industry, whenever a founder of a company or a CEO, bought a sports team, we would look to maybe short that company. Yeah. They've got to be all in. Yeah. All right. Next up, a creative Lightbox wrote, Chris, is it strictly necessary to set up a meeting with you before enrolling. No, you don't have to. You can enroll now if you want to, or what you can do is just go to my website, harounmba.com, and you'll see a pop-up just on the home screen here. And with this pop-up here, what you can do, 4, 3, 2, 1, pop-up, go, thank you. What you can do is you click here to schedule a Zoom call with me if you want to. Yeah. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second here, guys. Okay. Next up, Manas wrote, Bitcoin mining companies are public companies, and they are going down and down like 95%. For example, Bitfarm. Will it even go down? Yeah, I'm not familiar with the company. In my MBA degree program, I provide you with all the tools and templates you need to analyze any crypto company, public company, and private company, and more. Yeah. And then Gemini is filing for bankruptcy. I saw it this morning. Elon is getting sued in California, and FTX has recovered $5 billion. Why does it feel like the world is falling down? Should I roll up my sleeves and get ready? Yeah. When people are panicking, that's when you want to start doing research. You gotta, as Warren Buffett said, you want to be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy. FTX was just a Ponzi scheme, like Madoff. So this here, Bernard Madoff, for those who are not familiar, and there's a great miniseries now, documentary on Netflix on it. What he did was he defrauded investors, and for years he did it until 2008 when he got redemptions. Then people found out he was cooking the books. And this here, and I love using props as you know, this here is a statement I bought on eBay of a fraudulent account and I blacked out, the name is blacked out here, from Madoff, right? And so FTX was just like the Madoff scandal, except it was with cryptos. When the market starts falling, like it did in 08 with equities, and like it did in 2022 with cryptos, people redeem, and then you find out it's a pyramid scheme. Now, I knew the whole time, Dad Humor Brewing, I'm sorry. I knew the whole time that Madoff was a scam because his name was Madoff. Because, he made off. Sorry. Terrible humor. That's Charles Barkley. He says terrible. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Alex P. from Utah wrote, Chris, what are the latest happenings in Palo Alto right now? Palo Alto. Yeah. The chatter, basically, everyone's still talking about OpenGPT since it was released back in November. People are really excited about that in AI. It's a flavor du jour. A year ago, it was metaverse and NFT, which is a bad word now. Nobody talks about that. Yeah. But I think AI is here to stay. Yeah. Okay. And then Manas wrote, thank you for everything, my mentor. God bless you and your family forever and ever and ever and ever. Love Ruby, my cat, because she may be now and always all my courses are free for Project Magoo. Thank you. God bless you. I appreciate the comments. Thanks. Yeah. We have 2 cats now. Yeah. There's this adorable little black cat that we don't know whose it is, but we now just adopted her, and and lives in the garage. And for ages, he was too scared to come up to us, and we'd always say, "You're okay, you're okay," and that ended up being her name. So her name is his name is You're Okay. Yeah. Okay, Brian. Hey, Brian. Brian wrote, Chris, I love your Udemy classes. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. And I love Udemy too. They're a great partner of mine. Yeah. Okay, moving on to Arena, who wrote, is your crypto Udemy course updated with current events and influences? It's generic enough to still apply. And yes, I completely updated it last year. And it's the way that I architected it is I created a 49-step program in that course to help you do investment research. And I modeled it after an S1, an IPO document as well. Yeah. And in terms of cryptos, and I've said this since day one, please make sure that no more than 5% of your liquid net worth, meaning your portfolio, is in cryptos. And I don't want more than 0.5% of your liquid portfolio to be in any one crypto. And I want you to complete that entire 49-step tool that I provide you with, which is also updated, a more recent version in my MBA degree program. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Manas wrote, by the way, I put up another new course on the metaverse, and ChatGPT has stopped taking new members, And now they'll charge a premium on services. Oh, cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, ChatGPT. And I find that when I use ChatGPT, and there's no mobile app that works for it, but when I use the browser-based version, I find it crashes every now and then, right? So I'm sure from a load balancing perspective, too many people have signed up. And it can really hurt their reputation, which is probably why they, to your point, put up the paywall. Yeah. Congrats on putting up a new metaverse course. Maybe make a ChatGPT course if you want to on Udemy. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Brian wrote, "What are the differences from the Udemy classes versus your website classes?" Yeah. So my MBA degree program is only available on my platform, which is learn.harounventures.com. The other courses are the same. Yeah. So if you prefer to have all of your individual courses on Udemy, then buy my courses through Udemy if you want to. Yeah. Great. Thank you. All right. Sorry about that. I just switched now to a backup Wi-Fi network. I have redundancy, so we are good to go. Sorry about that brief interruption there. Okay, thanks. All right. Yeah. So in my MBA degree program, talking at Nintendo, we have a case study on Apple hypothetically buying Nintendo, and I actually created a couple of lessons based on Super Mario Maker 2. So I designed all the levels and I teach playing Nintendo. Yeah, kind of fun. Sorry about that interruption there. Okay. Okay. Next up, hey Rose, how are you? Rose is from the great state of Virginia. She was in my first MBA class. Rose wrote, as somebody who took the MBA program, the main difference is that it is more in-depth and hands-on than the Udemy courses. You also get real-time answers to your questions in the live classes. Thank you for that feedback. I appreciate that. Okay, cool. All right. Next up, Structural Design Inc., SDI, not to be confused with Strategic Defense Initiatives, wrote, hi, Chris. You're a great inspiration. Thank you. God bless you. I've followed more than 10 Udemy courses of yours. Is there any discount for your MBA for those who followed multiple Udemy courses of you? Yeah. I used to have a program set up so that for every Udemy course of mine you purchase, you get $10 off for the MBA program. If you want, you can send an email to support@harounventures.com and then I'll send you a discount for $100. Yeah, thanks. Thank you for that. God bless you. Yeah. All right. Next up, Jamie wrote, hey, Chris, would you recommend reading The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham? Yeah, it's great. It's basically the Bible when it comes to value investing. When Warren Buffett, he guest lectured at Columbia Business School. It's the same. He went to the same school I went to. It's the only thing I have in common with him. But when he guest lectured, his wife, God bless her, she passed away. But she was teasing him that on their honeymoon, he brought one book, which was The Intelligent Investor. If you're going to read that book, I recommend reading it for 30 minutes every morning when you get up because it is very dry. And you'll be fresh. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, we have Eduardo, who goes by Electronics On Site. Good to see you. Eduardo is based in Texas. He wrote, good day, Chris. Good to see you too. With the car market in free fall and the potential to buy cars to pre-COVID price level, is it a good time to buy a car and start a side hustle with Turo for cash flow? I'm not familiar with Turo in terms of buying a car. It's a hell of a lot cheaper now. You can even buy a Model Y Tesla for about 20 grand cheaper than it was a week or two ago with all the tax incentives. But make sure that the tax incentives are legit. I heard that doesn't work based on where you might live in this country. Yeah. Okay. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to open up Zoom. So if anybody wants to join Zoom, you can do so. And the way to join Zoom, if you want, is go to harounmba.com/Zoom, all lowercase. Okay. And what you can do is you can click right here to join Zoom. So what I'll do is I'll open it up here. Let's go here to Zoom. And I'll keep answering questions directly from the webcast here. So you can either type questions or you can join Zoom. So what I'll do is I'll open it up here. I'll launch it. And then if anybody wants to join, we'll start it that way. Okay, great. All right, next up, I've got Raymond. Raymond wrote, hey, I just started trading And I haven't been doing quite well. I've been in the red this week. Any advice? Sure. There's two of me on the screen here. It's kind of like that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie. Hold on, let me get rid of me. Okay, cool. So I say this as always with love in my heart, okay? Because I really care. Please don't trade. Please don't do it. The worst thing you can do is you start trading and you make money the first time. Because that is similar, literally the same thing as walking into a casino the first time, putting a quarter in a slot machine and winning money. It's not repeatable. You will be fooled by randomness, I promise you. There's a reason why there's no successful day traders out there. Search for them. They don't exist. Please be long-term focused only. You can't make money every month. Stocks go up and down for reasons outside of our control. Yeah. And I teach you portfolio management, portfolio construction, and risk management as well in my MBA degree program in a lot of detail. Yeah. And I do say I would love my in my heart. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Sanjay. Sanjay wrote, "Hey Chris, how do you become really intelligent in terms of finance? Like, how do you sound intelligent like a fund manager? Like whenever I see someone interviewed, they sound so intelligent and practical. Any books to read? How do you transform oneself into such a level of intelligence like that of a fund manager? And would you do reaction for Wall Street Money Never Sleeps as well? I saw your video. It was really amazing. No, thank you for that. Yeah. So what I would say is there really are no great books that you can read that will teach you finance and accounting. I just signed a contract actually with McGraw-Hill to write a book. It's part of their Essential series. So they have Essential series on coaching, communication, and presentation. And by March 1st, I'm delivering my book to them. Again, I signed a contract with them, which is called Finance Essentials. And it's going to be the first book I've seen that teaches you not based on theory for finance. And you'll find this in airports all over the world and stuff by this November. Yeah, so you'll find that. But I have not seen a book for that. But if you want, you can sign up to my MBA degree program, where I teach you all the basics of finance from scratch using many props. I make it fun and edutaining, and I'll teach you all the lingo as well. I also teach you how to communicate effectively when it comes to interviews, presentations, etc., and so much more in my MBA degree program. So please sign up, check it out. Thanks. And the link is below here. Okay. And I will do a reaction video for Wall Street Money Never Sleeps. We did the first one, Wall Street from 1987, late last year. Thank you. Thanks. And we're doing a lot more ones on billions as well. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And let me check here on Zoom, see if there's anybody waiting to get in. Yeah. So keep joining Zoom if anybody wants. Once we get a bunch of people, I'll turn it on if there's demand. Okay. All right. Next up, Sanjay wrote, how long do you think the life of the hedge fund companies are, and when will they be taken over by AI? Yeah. So let me answer the second part of that first. So there's really only one or two hedge funds that have figured out AI. And the main one is Renaissance Technologies. I did a vlog on that a year or two ago. You can watch that vlog if you want to. There's lots of others that are trying. I have not heard of any. I'm sure they're very secretive if they exist. Yeah. But the media would be all over them if they found out. Yeah. So there's really only one or two. Yeah. In terms of when will they be taken over by AI, I think it's only a matter of time. I really do. Kind of like how technology has disintermediated and destroyed the sales trader role on trading floors. I think that there's going to be certain AI-based hedge funds that will be able to outperform the best money managers, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that coming within the next decade. Yeah. Okay. And with ChatGPT, if you ever ask it for financial advice, it won't give it to you. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Salman wrote, hey, Chris, who do you think is the best project manager teacher on Udemy? Well, definitely Evan Kimbrell. Yeah. Or he's product. Evan Kimbrell, I think. If you're looking for more specific skill sets on certain project management-based software, I don't know. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Creative Lightbox wrote, Chris, does the MBA program include portfolio management deeply? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it does. Okay. And then Alex wrote, Can you disclose what cars are currently in your garage? Yeah. Let me go check. Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm happy to. We have a Tesla and a Mercedes. Yeah. And I have 2 badass e-bikes too. Yeah. Yeah. I'll show you my new hobby. Okay. I love e-bikes, right? And so I have what's called a Haroun, and I have another one as well, right? And so it is unbelievable. I'll show you the exact one I have. It's incredible. Like, ditch your car, man. These things are amazing. They're cheaper. It lasts. It works for 60 miles. Mine goes up to. I cut the green wire. I hacked it, so it goes up to 50 miles an hour. It's amazing. It looks dope on a rope too. I love it. Yeah, cheaper in a car. Battery operated too. Good for the environment. And you get to the gym wherever you're going faster because you're allowed to go in between lanes. You can cut lanes in the state of California. Okay. And you don't have to license it either, but I can't go on highways. All right. And then Alex wrote, I want to know if you're gas or electric car focused. Yeah. So the Tesla is electric, of course, that we have. We charge it here at the house. But the Mercedes is not. My next Mercedes I'm going to buy is going to be electric or hybrid. We have solar on the roof as well here. Yeah. Okay, next up, Amirali. First time I've seen you on the call. Welcome. I hope you join us again. The question here is, hi, Chris. What are your thoughts on Canadian junior mining? Be really careful with this, please. Okay. So the Canadian markets, there's been a lot of unethical activity in the Canadian markets, especially in the mining markets over the years. Anything based in the Vancouver Stock Exchange, just be really careful, please. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you want, you can do a search on Bre-X, which was Canada's Enron that occurred in the 90s. It was a massive scam. Please do your research on these companies first, and please be diversified. Maybe have a spray and pray mentality where you put maybe 2% of your portfolio into 10 different stocks. That's 20 basis points per junior miner that you want to put in. Just be careful, please. Yeah. And I feel bad saying that because I'm a very proud Canadian, but just I've seen too many people get burned over the years. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then you wrote, do you think we'll have a good year for precious metals this year? I do. Because China is opening up again. And that's one of the reasons why the European markets have been spiking, especially luxury goods companies in Europe that export to China. China is opening up again. Their economy is opening up. The COVID restrictions have been diminished. So I think we are going to see decent growth this year. It's from easy year-over-year comps, so when it comes to precious metals. And regardless, I think gold is a great investment anyway, ticker GLD, which was the biggest position in my portfolio back in 2008 when it was hard to find stocks to buy. Yeah. But China has a voracious appetite for natural resources. I remember years ago, I met with the CFO of United Technologies in my office, 2007. And he told me then, he said, United Technologies makes Otis elevators. And he told me at the time, he said, Chris, in the next 5 years, more buildings are going to be built in China than the cumulative total of all buildings ever built in every country since the beginning of time. And of course, what goes into buildings is a lot of natural resources as well. Yeah. And what happens is when China buys a lot of natural resources, it really helps natural resources rich economies like Canada, Brazil, and Australia. Their currency goes up because the Chinese government has to convert Chinese yuan or renminbi into those respective 3 currencies and then buy commodities from those countries. Yeah. All right. All right. Next up, Mike. Hey, Mike. Mike wrote, hey, Chris, do you differentiate between being a stock trader versus an options trader? Can you trade? Yeah. So let me first of all say with options, you're shorter term focused. I wouldn't just invest in options to try to make money. I would do it to protect your portfolio, right? By buying portfolio insurance like you do with puts, for example. Yeah. And make sure that when it comes to options, and I teach this in my MBA program in a 30-hour elective in FA 44, Finance and Accounting Semester 4, Class 4. When it comes to options, I want you to practice for 6 months first using Thinkorswim software. It's free to download. And I also only want you to buy options. I don't want you to underwrite or sell them because your losses can be unlimited. Be careful. Yeah. And if you want to really think about capital appreciation and make a lot of money in options, I want you to first do a lot of equity research on a stock or a company you love for the long term. And then I want you to buy leaps, which are like long-term call or put positions. Call positions for stocks you like. Yeah. Okay. And then you wrote here, can you trade options as a profession and consistently make money? Yes. But only once you thoroughly understand how to underwrite and sell options. Okay. And it takes years to understand this. Now, there's a lot of unsophisticated people that will buy options and they'll get screwed with pricing. And the market makers make a fortune on this. But you need to practice for years first, please. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Mike wrote, how is the reliability of your Mercedes? Is it in the shop a lot? I've been thinking of buying one. It's the best car I've ever owned. Yeah. And this one, actually, I bought it in the summer of 2017, and it works like a charm still. It's perfect. It's matte gray. I love it. It's amazing. Yeah. I'll never buy a BMW again, but the Mercedes is unbelievable. Yeah. Yeah. Just don't buy it used. Or if you do, check the VIN number. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Omar wrote, can you give an example of an S corporation? Sure, my company. So Haroun Education Ventures Incorporated is an S corporation. And what that means, the way I've structured my company is I have no full-time employees. I have lots of contractors. And I pass through all the expenses, and I just pay myself. Yeah. Now, you don't want to have an S corporation if you have shareholders. You know, I own 100% of my company. Since I launched in 2016, Haroun Education Ventures, Inc. If you want to have a lot of shareholders, you can't have an LLC or an S Corp. You have to have a C Corp. So if you want to go public, and what happens usually is with companies before they go public, what they do is quite often companies start as LLCs, right? So sole proprietorship and then LLC. And then once you want to go public, you have to transition, like Facebook did, to a C Corp. Because a C Corp, you can have hundreds and hundreds of owners of the company, unlike with an LLC or a sole proprietorship or an S Corp. Yeah. And you always want to talk to a tax advisor first before deciding what kind of company to register. Always. And I don't want anybody in this call to ever do your own taxes, please. I don't care how good you are with money. It doesn't matter. And I say it with love my heart. Doing your own taxes is like doing surgery on yourself, because the tax code changes all the time and CPAs keep up to date on the tax code and they can keep you out of trouble. Yeah, a good one at least. And if you have a business, I want you to have the same accounting firm do your personal and professional taxes. Always. Yeah. And in terms of how do you find a good accountant, I get that question all the time. There's no Yelp for accountants. You just have to find somebody successful that you know, a family member, whatever, a rich aunt or uncle, or somebody at your company, and ask them who do they use. And they'll happily introduce you. And they'll do it because it'll help them get better quality service from their accountant because their accountant's getting a new customer. Yeah. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second here, guys. All right. I got a couple people waiting to join Zoom. So I'm going to accept you guys. Okay. And I'll come join in a second. So if anybody wants to join Zoom, please go to harounmba.com/Zoom, all lowercase, ZOOM. Okay, cool. All right. Next up, I've got Hey Ziad, how are you? First time I've seen you on the call. I hope you join us again. Thank you. My best friend Jason Denny, his brother is Ziad, is too. So Ziad wrote, hi, Mr. Chris. I want to know how to start in a finance career with no previous experience. Note, I'm from Egypt, just like my dada. I love you, dada. And I've registered in both your courses, Introduction to Finance and Accounting. Yeah. So what I would say is the best way to break into the finance industry is to network aggressively. And in my MBA degree program, I teach how to network aggressively. In fact, if you're in my platinum program, you can learn more at this link here. I write your whole LinkedIn profile myself for you. And I help you to aggressively network to get that job of your dreams. And as I mentioned at the beginning of today's call, I had a student last year in my platinum MBA program who got a job at Goldman Sachs in investment banking in New York City, making a couple $100,000 a year. And in his start class as an associate, there were Harvard Business School students in his start class. And I helped him personally a lot to be able to network aggressively to get that job. Networking is like dating. You can't just give up after setting up 1 or 2 informational interviews. You got to go all out. And I can help you do that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Roberto wrote, and you know what I'm going to do, guys, is this. So if you want to join Zoom, I think we have a couple people here waiting to get in. Okay, here we go. So if you want to join Zoom along with Brian and CL, then what you do is this. You go to harounmba.com/Zoom, and then you click this link here. Okay, and I'll go to Zoom in a second, and you guys can keep asking questions this way here over YouTube Live or through Zoom as well. Okay, and I'll go over here and actually I'll open up Zoom right now. Okay. Let me make sure I have the right speaker on. Yep, good. Okay, anybody on Zoom? I see Brian and CL. Please come on board or come and ask me questions live here. And let me switch over to a different camera angle here, or a different screen share. Okay, there we go. We got Brian. Okay, so you got to unmute yourself to ask a question. So Brian, why don't you unmute yourself? And then start by introducing yourself. Okay. Tell us where you're from. Oh my God, dude, I have the same Wolverine 9.8 top left there that you have. This one here, I got it from PSA or CGC, I should say. I got it very,
these are all CGC graded.
Yeah, and the one on the top right, the other side there. No, move over. Yeah, that one there. That one there. I had that one as well. I have 10 of those. That was in a China coffee table book my wife threw out. I still have. And I have all those Dark Knights you have up there as well. The Frank Miller ones. First printing as well. Oh, I love it. Secret Wars. That's right. Any black Spider-Man is worth a fortune. Oh, dude,
they're all signed by Stan Lee. These are my clients. I'm a stockbroker.
Dude, go back to the Spider-Man one, please.
Before he passed away, Stan Lee was with my kids.
Oh my God.
He signed
dude,
first one, 9.2 graded.
That's Spider-Man #1?
Yes.
Dude, that is
one of the highest graded Spider-Man #1 signed by.
Dude, that's a couple $100,000.
There's probably about $1 million in my office worth of signing memorabilia. Everything's signed.
Go back. I want to see that. That's a big deal. Oh my God.
Well, this is original Frank Miller. Yeah. When he did the Dark Knight.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, I have all the Dark Knight.
This is the original drawing for the Wolverine.
Holy dude, that's got to be worth, that's millions. That is.
I've been in this business for a while.
Go back. I want to see more. Go back to the Spider-Man. I've never met anybody who has Spider-Man #1, let alone 9.2. That's ridiculous. That is worth millions, I think. Wow.
Not millions, but it's worth quite a bit.
Hundreds of thousands. Yeah, dude, that's impressive. Wow. Do you have baseball cards too, or just comics?
No, I've been collecting comics as a kid, and I was going to Comic Cons, and when I was in New York City working on Wall Street, they said, why don't you get these guys as clients? So I've got, I worked with Stan Lee, Frank Miller, and all the guys.
That is unbelievable.
So everything I have is signed. My whole office is nothing but signed memorabilia from comic books and stuff that. All CGC graded.
That is insane. I remember as a kid, man. So the way I got interested in stocks was through comic books and baseball cards. It's all about supply and demand, and the whole comic book market was basically too much supply in the 90s, especially with the independence, with post Cerebus, etc., or Cerberus. It was ridiculous. Yeah, wow. Those
are coming back up now. I mean, you look at the Spider-Man 300. Yeah, Todd McFarlane from the 90s. That's worth $4 or $5 grand, and because people threw them away because they thought they weren't worth anything.
Yeah,
and now they're realizing there's not as many available because everyone just threw them away.
Dude, I'm blown away. I remember when I was a kid, I collected comics, and at first it was like, oh my God, you're a nerd. And then eventually they made all these Marvel movies, and people were like, hey man, can you score me a ticket to Comic-Con? Yeah.
Yeah.
That is amazing, man. Very cool. Thank you for showing me that. I'm blown away. Blown away. Very cool.
I'll have to send you close-up images of everything.
That's insane. Wow. Incredible.
No, this is nothing. I have a storage unit. This is my office. So this is my private office. So when clients come in, they can see. And they're like, you see that guy? He's a friend of mine. He lives in California. He lives here. Yeah. These are people I represent. So.
Wow. And so you met Stan Lee?
Yeah, many times.
Wow. What was he like?
By the end of his life, it wasn't really, it was kind of sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he couldn't even barely talk. People were just pushing him around.
Yeah.
So at the conventions, I mean, I've known him for about 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Before he popped.
Yeah. No.
Right. I mean, when his wife jumped, that was it. He just became a money thing.
Yeah.
And all the handlers and the conventions. I mean, the guy didn't really want to move much.
Yeah.
The worst part was when my wife met him. He couldn't even talk.
Yeah. No, it's a shame. It's a shame. No.
He was just sitting there, and there was like thousands of people waiting in line to get photos.
Yeah. I remember his last.
But he was not. Yeah. I mean, he was.
Yeah, his last video. I remember he was reaching out to all of his fans on his couch in his house, and big heart, man, big heart. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Now, what's your favorite cameo of his?
But I learned a lot of business from him.
From Sam. What did you learn?
Oh, cameos.
Yeah.
I was gonna say from business, because he made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he lost a lot of his characters by going.
Yeah.
And then he didn't.
Yeah.
All this.
Yeah.
That and then.
Hey, Brian.
Not Disney, but Marvel.
Yeah.
Disney bought out Marvel.
Yeah, I remember there was
his
a big.
whole life was trying to get.
Yeah.
The rights to all these characters that he.
Yeah, and we do a case study in the MBA program as well on when Carl Icahn bought out Marvel for pennies in the dollar.
The line keeps breaking up.
Yeah, I know that. Hold on one second. If you want, I think it's better now. Can you hear me? Okay.
I hear you fine right now.
Okay, perfect, excellent. Tell me, more business. Anything you've learned from him, even personal development stuff.
With the lawyers and stuff like that, because I had to hire lawyers for my firm. He got screwed on the lawyers. They were the ones who talked him into going public with all his characters.
Yeah.
And they were the ones who ended up buying all the stock and taking it from him.
Wow.
So the people that you thought were close to you were not necessarily always have your best interests at heart.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame.
That was something I definitely, that hit home. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Working with other people, I had being on Wall Street for so long, my ex-business partner went through drugs and stuff. So these were the kind of the guys who I would talk to, and they're like, you just got to cut it loose. So I cut it loose and expanded my business to Washington, D.C.
Nice.
So now it's just me by myself in an office.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of having 300 employees like I used to.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, tell me a little bit more about yourself, where you're based now, your career, and your company as well.
All right. So I own a small satellite office in Alexandria, Virginia, just 10 miles south of the DC Capitol.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been to Alexandria.
Yeah, well, I go to McLean, Virginia every now and then. I remember I met with Gus Hunt, who's the CTO of the CIA. I hired him actually from the CIA to work at my venture capital firm years ago. And we went to the McLean family restaurant. We'd always meet there. Yeah.
That's awesome. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not far from here. That's about a 15-minute drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
McLean.
Small world. Yeah.
Yeah, and now I just manage people's assets. I do their IRAs, individual accounts all over the world. I have clients in London, Paris, Germany, a lot of California, just all over the place. I quit doing China and Dubai because I just couldn't sleep anymore. London, getting up for London and then trying to do China at 2 o'clock in the morning, being up at 4 to do it just wasn't working. So I've now just focused on Europe and the United States.
Right, right. Very cool, man. That's awesome. Well, I'm so tickled pink that you're joining us today with all those comics in the background. I mean, I feel like I'm in heaven, man. That's incredible. Amazing. Amazing. What has your best investment ever been in the comic book market?
The best one? Let's see. I have so much stuff.
Yeah.
Because some of it was given to me.
Yeah. Wow.
From clients.
Yeah.
So the return on that obviously would be the best thing because I paid nothing for it.
Yeah.
But something I actually bought would probably be, let's see. I think this is cool. I mean, I make money, so I'm not going to look at it at monetary value so much.
Yeah.
You know Frank Miller.
Yeah, of course.
The original Sin City drawing.
Yeah. Okay, that's one of one. Huh.
One of one. This is the concept art that he did
to
do the stripper in Sin City, the main character.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is one of the only ones that existed at the time.
Okay, cool.
And then I would say this is my other favorite, this one. And then Neil Adams was a really good friend of mine, and unfortunately passed away last year. Last year sucked for me for business. Yeah, a lot of these guys died last year.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that. Yeah.
But this, I'm sure you've seen this before.
Oh, dude, that is amazing. Yes, of course.
So this is the original. Last year, 2 months before he passed away, he found that upstairs in his bedroom, underneath his bed in New York.
Wow.
Didn't even know he had it. It was the promo copy before he got released to the public. So I got it from him, and he drew Superman on the front, Muhammad Ali on the back of it.
Yeah.
But it's in pristine mint condition, so I had it framed.
Amazing.
No one's ever touched that except Neil Adams, and that was the one that before it went to the market, he had to approve.
That's incredible, man. You can call Sotheby's right now and sell that and make a fortune. Yeah.
So I get offers all the time from lobbyists here in DC or lawyers, and comic stores from New York, and even Mile High in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Incredible.
Nothing's for sale. I don't sell these things.
Yeah.
They'll go to my kids. They're all going into a trust.
Have you ever met Mr. Mint?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Yeah. So he's a good wheeler and dealer. Very cool, man. That is awesome. Very cool. Okay. So tell us how, obviously you're very successful. Give us some.
I wouldn't say that. Yeah. That's why I'm doing all these classes.
Oh, you're
success
humble.
Never stops.
No, you're humble. I love it. You're like a fellow Canadian. Yeah. So what would you say are the 3 best ways to get new customers?
That's kind of why I started doing your classes, to try to relearn. When Neil Adams passed away, then George Perez passed away.
Yeah.
That hurt my business. These were some big time clients.
Right.
And I went through my client list this year, because as part of my New Year's, I always do a list of things to do.
Right.
80% of my clients are over 65.
Okay.
And 70. Some of the biggest accounts I have left that are in Amsterdam and London.
Yeah.
85, almost 90 years old.
Yeah. Well, we're going to see.
So I'm scared my business is going to get destroyed because of aging out and trying to get new customers. I suck at the new youth. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I can't figure it out.
Right. Well, sometimes your best customers are your existing ones. Now, in the next couple of decades, it's very sad to say we're going to see the biggest generational transfer of wealth in history as the baby boomers move on. Is there a way that you can get involved with getting to know more immediate members of their families, from a downselling, cross-selling, upselling perspective?
I've been trying to do that because I learned Citibank kids started going after the clients' kids.
Right.
And then tried to give them free classes and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
The problem is I'm so all over the world. Like my biggest clients are probably Europe.
Yeah.
I can't be there all the time. Now, when I do go, I've gotten to know some of the kids. My biggest client in Amsterdam, every time his kid wants to come to the U.S., he stays at my house. I make sure everything's taken care of. So he's gotten to know my kids, but it'll never be that relationship that I have with the original person.
Right.
Because a lot of these kids nowadays want to use Robinhood. They want to do everything on the app where they think they can do it themselves.
Yeah.
They may be able to. I can't say they can't, but the world's changed really fast. And I need to figure out how to adapt to it or I'll die.
Right. Sometimes your best source of customers are your existing customers. Have you literally asked your customers if they can introduce you to their friends, other contacts, etc.?
I need to start doing more of that.
Yeah.
I did that when I was younger.
Yeah.
When I was building the business.
Yeah.
So maybe I need to go through everyone and just say from A to Z.
Yeah.
You know what? Please send me 1 or 2 contact details or something.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great way to do it. Yeah. And so I have one of my students in my platinum program. He said he grew up in the hood, and he learned the hard way that closed mouths don't get fed. Like you got to ask for business a lot. You got to ask your existing customers, and that's usually the best source of new customers is referrals. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you don't think they'll be bringing on more older people because that's going to be.
Well, that's okay because you can cross sell or downsell there to their kids or younger family members. Yeah. But I wouldn't be too concerned about if the average age is over 65, say they're 70 or 75. The historically the average lifespan has increased since the 1950s by 26 years. And so I really do believe that there are people on this webcast right now that'll make it to 150. I remember people used to when they're in their 70s or 80s, they want to retire. A lot of people are with it. My parents are in their 80s and they're really sharp. Really sharp. So I wouldn't worry about that. What I would worry about is if there's customer concentration, meaning if one customer is more than, say, 10 or 20% of revenue. From a risk management perspective, that can be dangerous. Yeah.
And that's where I'm falling into now.
Yeah.
So when Neil Adams passed away,
and
the other thing with comic book creators and not just them lawyers and stuff, these kids inherit this money and then they just go on a shopping spree, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So even when I reach out to the kids, I've had a hard time trying to convert because all of a sudden now, they think about, I need to buy a house because houses are so expensive. I need to buy this.
Yeah.
I need to pay off college. There's all these things they want to do, and I understand.
Yeah.
Or they're too young and they just party.
Yeah, dude.
And it's hard for me to grasp that concept with them.
Yeah, it's hard because they say the first generation makes the money, the second spends it, and the third has none. So I think that the best way to educate, the next generation is to explain the time value of money. For example, I could spend $300 and buy Beats headphones, or I can invest it and that'll be 35 grand or 40 grand in literally 30 or 40 years. I would explain that concept. You can use Excel as well and just kind of teach them, the PV, present value and future value formulas and NPV, et cetera. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I would.
And I did finally update my LinkedIn, Facebook, and I have a podcast too.
Nice.
Which is called Investors Coffee Shop, where I'm talking. I just finished trust accounts.
Yeah.
Not picking up steam. I'm trying to get David Rubenstein here in DC. He said he was going to do it with me for the new book.
Amazing.
But I thought I was been doing your class. I'm right now doing a 30-day challenge. So I'm on day 4. I only do one video a day.
Oh, cool.
So last night was the way you eat and your body and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have tons of questions about that. I don't know how many people are on here.
Yeah. Go for it, please. We only have a couple minutes left, but and which MBA are you in?
I just bought everything you did on Udemy.
Okay, cool.
I just straight the cryptos, everything. I started the options course. I teach options. I'm an options principal.
Oh, cool.
And the stuff you have in the options mind is blown.
Cool.
It's so good. I mean, the information, that spreadsheet with Excel.
Yeah.
I love everything you have done. And I haven't completed it yet. I'm working on it. There was a lot of information.
Yeah.
And I'm doing all the classes instead of just skipping the beginner, because you said skip beginner, do this.
Yeah.
I figured just do the whole thing. That way I don't miss anything.
Yeah. No, thank you. I appreciate it. Tell you what, why don't you stick around and I'll wrap up this webcast and I'm going to do the Silver MBA Zoom right now. Why don't you stay on this call and I'll come back in about 5 or 10 minutes and we'll continue this conversation. Is that cool?
That sounds good.
Awesome.
All right.
Dude,
you want me to mute the video and stuff?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll mute on my end too. And dude, it is a pleasure to meet you, and I can't wait to talk to you more. Awesome. So
I would love to have you on my podcast if possible too, to advertise your stuff.
You have me at hello.
As a customer, I love it. I can see the merit in this.
Yeah, 100%. Yes. 100%. I'd love to. Okay, so please stick around. What I'll do is I'll come back to you in a couple of minutes once I wrap up the general call here. And thank you. All right. Awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thanks. All right. So let me mute this here. Go back here. Okay, great. Okay, with that, we're going to wrap up this week's webcast. That was incredible, talking to Brian. I'm still, I'm in nerd heaven with those comic books on the wall. Those are priceless. Unbelievable. Very cool. It's all about supply and demand. There's a very limited supply, a dearth of supply in his comic books, especially the ones that are rated 9.2 or higher by CGC. Yeah, unbelievable. Cool. All right. So if you're interested in the gold or platinum version of my MBA degree program, please sign up today. Spots are limited at this link here. And what I'm going to do is, and I see there's lots more questions, please save them, ask me next week. Or if you're in my gold and platinum program, I'll see you at 11:20 today for our 2-week office hours call. What I'm going to do is I'm going to end my weekly webcast with the same video that I do every week, which is a 1-minute video interview with Steve Jobs that I license from the Silicon Valley Historical Association, which is life-changing. Thank you.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it, that's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. I think that's very important. And however you learn that, once you learn it, you'll want to change life and make it better, because it's kind of messed up in a lot of ways. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.